well, it is 2 o'clock. So with that, what that means is we are going to get started. So welcome to all of our Tupperware friends. I see some new names here, which I'm super excited about. So while we are starting, I want you go to the chat. Let us know where home is from you. What city, what state, what company you're a part of. And if you are a guest, I always say it, give a shout out to your Tupperware consultant that invited you today because we want to know who you're connected with. All right, some quick housekeeping. First of all, my name is Janine. If I didn't say that already, I am with the home office team, and I love working with these Tupperware lives to bring Tupperware to everybody from East Coast to West Coast, North to South, Hawaii, Alaska, everywhere. So we are super excited to be sharing and bringing Tupperware to life for you. Now, you are shopping with your consultant who invited you. Their name is going to appear above us. And when you check out, you're going to see their name there as well. Now, during the event, I'm going to share some products as Tina's demonstrating, and they're going to pop up on your screen. If you're on a laptop, they're going to pop up to your right of the screen. If you're on a cell phone, they're going to pop below the screen. You can read more and you can add to cart. And after this demonstration, you can continue to browse the full catalog above and you can check out. But don't do either before we're done demonstrating or it's going to kick you out of the party and you're going to have to come back. So today's topic is Future You Will Thank You One Meal at a Time. And we are celebrating the Tupperware brand's 80th anniversary this year. So we're going to be showcasing some classic Tupperware pieces that you've loved for many years, but also you're going to find some new ones that you may not have seen or realize that you need in your kitchen. So I'm going to kick it off to the beautiful Tina Oscar. She's a business leader with Legacy Party Sales. She's going to teach you so much. You're going to learn. I know you're going to have some aha moments, and she's going to help you have more confidence in the kitchen after today. So, Tina, take over.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I am going to be sharing with you something that I love, and it's basically called meal prep. And there's a lot of ways to meal prep. So I'm going to actually show you 3 different ways, and you can kind of decide what fits with your lifestyle the best. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you is what I call just prepping. This can save an enormous amount of time when you're starting to make your dinners. So the question that I want to ask you is this, like, how many of you kind of dread putting dinner together? Right? Or how many of you forget that it's dinner time because you're busy and then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have time to cook. And you find yourself ordering something from DoorDash or someplace like that, or going through a drive-through on your way home, picking up dinner, typically not something really healthy. But the worst part is not only is it not healthy, it's super expensive. So what I'm going to share with you today is going to save you time, but it's also going to save you money. And I bet you all of us can get excited about that. So when I talk about just prepping, what I mean is chopping up things ahead of time. Typically, I do this when I come home from the grocery store. And so what I've done right now is I've just got a bunch of celery sitting here, and I do this a lot. So I've got them in my freezer containers and I put them on our silicone baking mat. So I keep mine rolled up inside of a paper towel holder because you don't want them flopping all over your cabinets. And that way it's super easy for you to be able to take out and lay. These are real flexible, so you do want to put them on a firm surface. And so what I do with this is I put it on a cookie sheet and then I put my chopped vegetables right on top of this and I put them into the freezer. So you can like lay them into your freezer real quickly. And I only put them in there for maybe 10 minutes at the most. And what happens is they come out frozen just enough so that they don't stick. So then because it's so flexible, you can literally take this little guy like this and dump them right into your freezer container. So these are one of our freezer make containers, and I love these so much. Now, I'm going to be honest, mine are a different color than what you're going to see online right now because I've had these for a while, which is one of the best parts about Tupperware, right? Is that it's an investment in your kitchen, but once you have this, guess what? You're going to be able to use this forever. And so you really are going to get your money's worth out of that. All right, so that is our silicone baking mat. And so just to kind of give you a couple of ideas, because people ask about this all the time, like Once I chop it, I don't really know how much to use in a recipe because see, now I don't have to get my cutting board and my knife out for one of my recipes. So one stalk of celery is going to be roughly about a half a cup. So when you've got a recipe like that, that's going to help you to know exactly how much to use. So you'll notice that our freezer mates come in a lot of different sizes. And so here's a couple of things that I've done, and I just wanted to kind of share with you. I've got all of my frozen veggies around here somewhere. I think this is one. So this is onion, and you'll notice you can hear it because it's individually frozen. And then I also have bell pepper. Now, how's this saving money? It's saving time for sure because I don't have to wash that cutting board. But how is this saving money? Here's why. Example for onions. If you buy a bag of chopped frozen onions, it's going to cost you for 12 ounces the same price as a 3 pound bag of onions. That's a lot of money to save, right? So that is just one of the things that I like to do to save money and time. All right, now my next tip is perfect for small families. So this is bacon, and it's all rolled into little individual pieces and freeze it. Now you're thinking, why on earth would you take the time to do that? Well, and this actually holds 2 pounds of bacon. So the reason for that is because right now I cook for a family of two. And like I could eat a pound of bacon, but I don't need to eat a pound of bacon for breakfast. So we can take out just a couple of pieces. It's also great if you've got a recipe that you just need a little bit of bacon for, or if you want to make a bacon lettuce tomato sandwich for lunch, or if you're making some beans and you want to just throw a couple of pieces in there. Super, super easy for that. All right. The other thing that I do is when I buy chicken, I chop it all up. And so I want to make sure I got all my chicken. So this is one of the things I do. So this is raw chicken, you guys. And so this is a chicken breast, and it's actually about 1.5 chicken breasts that I've used for this. And this is cubed. And then I also have strips, and the strips are all ready for something like fajitas. But here's the cool part is I can always chop them into cubes if I need to. And then I also have another one. So I got a lot of my chicken all ready to go. Again, I don't have to wash the cutting board. I don't have to wash the knife. But here's the most part. Like when I cook with chicken, I feel like I need to sterilize my whole kitchen. So I only have to sterilize my kitchen one time, and it gets that all out of the way. I want to share with you this. Oh my gosh. These we've only had a few times. And when we've had them, I've grabbed them. But they just came out last week on special. And I ordered two more sets just for myself because I had none in my drawer that I use for my freezer mates. They were all busy in the freezer. So let me tell you what this one is. This is hollandaise sauce. Now, that's something I use a lot. And when I make a batch, there's always a little bit left over, so I can freeze it. And then throughout the week, if I decide to make a poached egg, I can throw this right on top of it. And it's almost like having eggs Benedict. I mean, you could make it eggs Benedict, throw in your English muffin and some Canadian bacon, and wow, you'd be all ready to go. All right, so we talked about chopping your vegetables. We talked about rolling your bacon. We talked about that little cute little freezer mate for your little leftovers. Now I want to show you something else. This I just did this morning. So I use my Tupperware stack cooker, and I've got a second one so I can show you a clean one. So it does come with two seals so that you can actually put meals together. But the stack cooker is literally that. It is a way for you to cook by stacking your meals. So there's a 3-quart that you can use. There's a 1 3/4 quart, and then there's a 3/4 quart that is can be used as a casserole, but it can also be used as a cover. It also comes with a cone. When you put the cone inside of here, a couple of things. You can use this to make a meatloaf. It's great for cooking all meats because your microwaves only cook about 3 inches in. And so that's why sometimes things are not done in the very center section. But it's also great for making a bundt cake. Do you know that you can put a regular cake mix, eggs, oil, and water. You can put this in here, and in 9 minutes, you can have a cake. Now, my favorite one is a German chocolate cake, but you'll have to come back another time for me to teach you how to make that one. So this is great, but it also comes with a colander, and my colander is inside of this other one. So what I did is I took about 3 pounds of ground beef. You'll notice that I left a hole in the very center. And the reason I did that, remember, it doesn't always cook into the center. And you cook in the microwave 6 minutes per pound for meats. So I put this in because it was 3 pounds. I put it in for about half the time, put it in for about 8 minutes, took it out, stirred it, and then made sure I made a little hole. And then I put the rest of it back in there to cook for another 8 minutes. So that way I was able to get it all done. Now, here's what I'm going to do with that. I've got a couple of containers and these hold about a pound. So I am just going to take this and I'm going to fill up these little containers. Now, I'm not going to do them all because you don't need to see me do that. But you want to make sure that you chop it all up. Now, why do I do this? Well, how many times do you have a recipe that starts with brown ground beef, right? Tacos, spaghetti sauce. I mean, the list goes on and on. And the thing is we put a pan on the stove, we put our ground beef in there, and then we have to wash the pan and wash the stove. So that is one of the things that this eliminates is you don't have to wash the pan and wash the stove 3 different times. So, and you can do 3 pounds at a time. So I just put them in my little freezer mates. You notice that I was using my silicone spatula. I love that. Stain resistant. All right, so I've got these all set. They are ready to go. I'm going to do the rest of those a little bit later, but here's what I really want to show you because this is the part that will absolutely blow your mind. The gunk. This was lean ground beef. The gunk. Look at all of that stuff that's in there. So I'm going to just show you this. So I got a measuring cup so we can show you exactly what came out of 3 pounds of ground beef. Like, I'm just so disgusted by this. Do you believe this, you guys? Now, when you cook this on your stovetop, yep, I know you're trying to get it all out before you use it and you're scooping it out with a spoon. This is so much easier. But the point is you're not getting all of this out. So now, you're eating that. So that's pretty disgusting, right? All right. So that's another one of my quick little preps. All right, now I'm going to move on to my next way of meal prepping, and that is to make meals in a bag. So these are our silicone bags, and I just want to go ahead and get this tossed into the microwave real quick because I'm actually going to cook this. So these I cook for the most part in my Tupperware microwave pressure cooker. Yeah, I said microwave pressure cooker. And honestly, when this first came out, it freaked me out because I thought, oh my gosh, this thing's going to blow up. And it doesn't because Tupperware has built in some amazing safety features. First of all, it has a little venting section right there. So once it's under pressure, you'll actually hear it whistle. It also has a lock that you just lift up. And then even once you lift this lock up, you still can't take the cover off. You have to actually twist the cover to take that off. So that's pretty cool. So this is a meal that I made last week. And this is curry. So this was in my freezer and I took it out last night so that I could have it all ready to go. And these, as I mentioned, are our silicone bags. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the silicone bags in just a second. I lost one of my spatulas. There we go. I don't want to leave all my yummy stuff in here, so I'm going to scoop that all out. And then these are going to go in the microwave, depending upon the meal, 20 to 30 minutes. Set it and forget it. So that those of you that have a busy lifestyle or you've got to come home and help kids get their homework started, these are going to be phenomenal for you. All righty. There we go. So again, you're going to put this on. There's two little triangles. You're going to match the triangles. You'll notice that the handles are cattywampus. So now you're going to turn those. And now that's lock number one. And now we're going to do lock number two. And I'm going to put this in the freezer or the microwave. And I'm going to do this one for 25 minutes. Okay? Alrighty. Now, let me wipe up my little mess that I made here doing that. So let's talk about the silicone bags. These are the silicone bags, and they come in a couple of different sizes. So these are what we call the stand-up. We also have flat ones, but they're great for replacing like your sandwich bags and your snack bags. What I love about this is that it's an investment one time. You're not going to have to keep buying all of those plastic ones that you buy that go in the landfill. Like, seriously, let's think about this. How many of those do you buy on an annual basis? And then they sit in a landfill and they are going to be there forever. We're running out of space, so we really need to be good stewards of our environment. But also, it's going to save you money because you're going to pay for all of your plastic bags kind of up front. So these received a Red Dot Award for design, so that's pretty cool. So you'll notice it's got a flat base, and that's so that it can stand up all by itself as you're putting your meals together. And they come in 4 different sizes. To seal these up, what you're going to do is you'll notice there's a little hole right there in the center. That's so you can hook it like on a backpack. And this one's a really great size. I love this. And you just start in the center and you run your fingers all the way. And you want to make sure you don't leave a little opening there because then it's not going to be liquid tight. So you want to make sure you squeeze that end and then you're going to go all the way to the side. And then what I usually do is bend it over kind of to express the air. And then I finish that up. Okay. All right, so they are liquid tight. So I've got some water inside of this one. Look at that, liquid tight, you guys. Isn't that amazing? So I love the fact that you can nest them inside of one another, and that way they don't take up a ton of space in your cabinet as well. So these are our silicone bags. All right, so we're gonna get started right now with doing a couple bag meals so I can show you just how easy this one is. So the first one that I'm gonna do is cranberry Dijon pork chops. So I've got all my ingredients right inside of here. And so this one, we're going to start with some cranberries, okay? In the can, I know, whole berry, don't get the jelly. And we're going to use our Tupperware can opener with this. So the way this works is you open it up like this, you lay it right on the very top with this round thing up against the side. And once you've done that, you can close it. You'll know you have it on if you can lift it up in the air like that. And then I'm just going to twist this can around or that handle. And it usually takes about 10 to 12 twists for it to cut all the way around. You'll typically hear it click so you know that it's cut through. I just heard a click. Then you open this up. You're going to use the little beak, put it right on the very top, and you're going to, whoops, didn't grab a hold of that very good. Let me grab that. I didn't cut it all the way, you guys. Sorry about that. Let's try that. I thought I heard it click. There we go. I just heard it click. The nice part about this is it is lifting the top off. So you are not going to have any sharp edges on your can. Oh my gosh, why am I not getting this? Ah, there we go. Got it. No sharp edges. Isn't that cool? All right, so we're going to scoop this into our bag. So here's the other cool thing about this is you don't need to use any bowls when you're doing this because everything is just going to be right here. All right, the next thing you're going to use is a package of Lipton French onion soup, okay? And we're going to just pour that in there. And next, we're going to have 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Whoops. So there's 1, and let me pour it a little bit more in there.
Tina, I applaud you for measuring because I am so guilty. I'm not a measuring girl. So
You
I
know,
applaud you that
and
you are.
I do typically measure most things. And I know they always say it doesn't really matter unless you're baking. All right, so I'm using our little thin silicone spatula. It's perfect for getting into little things like this. Probably would have been easier not to measure because then it would have all gone right down to the side there. All right, now I'm gonna wipe off my top here. Watch this, you guys. I don't have the pork chops in there yet, but I'm just gonna squish this together. Isn't that the coolest thing? That's the neatest thing about these. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my pork chops. And this is all going to sit in here and I'm going to freeze this. So, yep, raw pork chops are going to go inside of here, you guys. So I have the family size package, and that's the other thing that I love about our freezer mates is that it's always cheaper to buy the family size package, right? And so I am actually able to take advantage of that pricing as opposed to buying just what we need because I can actually freeze the rest. So I'm going to put 4 pork chops in here and mix those all together. There we go. And then I'm going to start in the center and I'm going to work my way to the outside. Make sure it's all completely done and go over to here. When it's not quite done, I'm going to bend it over to get all of the extra air out. And now I've got a bag. Now you can stand these up in your freezer or you can lay them down because remember I already showed you that they're liquid tight, right? So there's another meal ready to go. How awesome is that? Now, what am I going to do with that? So I have got a container right here that's going to be perfect for those. And I've already labeled it. So I'm just going to throw my pork chops in there. And the next time I need pork chops, guess what? I have them all ready to go. All right. Bingo. All right, the next recipe that I'm going to share with you, I want to change my gloves. The next recipe that I'm going to share with you is super easy. This is one of our favorites, and if you've got people coming over for football or football's over, but whatever, you've got people coming over, this is a super fast, easy way to be able to put a great meal together. And it's for barbecue sliders, and it only has a couple of ingredients. I will tell you, I've added a few extra, well, not a few, one extra thing here. It's hard to get these gloves on quick.
While you're doing that, we've had a few questions on what labels do you prefer to use on your Tupperware going in the freezer? Do you have a specific one?
I do. And the reason I love these so much is that they don't leave a sticky residue, but they also don't curl off. And I just buy them on Amazon and I buy 1,000 at a time. So, but they work really well. All right. So here's our next recipe. Okay. So we are going to take 2 boneless chicken breasts, and I just have to find them now. Somewhere around here I have 2 boneless chicken breasts. That's not it. Maybe this is it. Nope, that's not it. Oh yeah, this is it. All right, and this calls for chicken breasts. They're kind of cut up in chunks, so that's what I've done. So I'm just gonna put those in first, and then now normally I would do this like right out of the container that they came into the grocery store, just like I did with the pork chops, but I couldn't do that for today. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some liquid smoke. So I'm going to have to wash that liquid smoke container now. I need 1/4 of a cup of liquid smoke. Whoops. And yep, I do measure it. Okay. Just used up all of that. So time to put that on the grocery list. And then we are going to use some barbecue sauce. So you can choose whatever kind of barbecue sauce that you want. And grab a towel here. And we're going to use 1.5 cups of barbecue sauce. So this is our 1 cup measuring cup. These are microwavable measuring cups. So those are great because you can put things in the larger one and then use the smaller one to cover it. And I'm using the smaller bag because it's only got 2 chicken breasts in there. Now, the last thing that I add to this that's not part of the recipe, and it's only because I had another recipe for these before and it did call for this, and so I really, really liked that. All right. I'm going to add a little bit of salad dressing. So what's best is like an Italian salad dressing. And it just gives it a little bit of a zip. Now, this is homemade salad dressing. All right, we'll just pour that in on top. And then again, we start with this. All righty. I lost my feed here, so I need to see how I'm doing on time.
You're doing great.
All right. So again, you want to puff out that extra air, and these are ready to go. And you just kind of mix them all together. And then you microwave those, and then what you do is once you cook those, they are totally shredded. So I've got a couple of other recipes. I'm not going to have time for those, but I have one for beef and broccoli. I have another one for beef stroganoff. So super, super easy to do. All right, the last product line that I want to share with you is another great way of being able to make some meals fast, and that is through our new Voila. And if you guys have not seen Voila, holy smokes, this is going to blow your mind. So Voila is our new glassware, and it comes in multiple sizes. Let me slide this all over here. There we go. So these right here are what we call the minis. So as you can see, 4 different ones. And I've got to tell you a couple things I really love about these. First of all, they nest down inside of one another. So I can literally put all of these inside of one another in my cabinet. So I only need the amount of space for one. Now I'm not going to be able to nest in this one because I already have something I made, and I just kind of want to show you that. This is a casserole that I already made. It's been in the freezer, and this is a Cajun chicken pasta. So when you open these, you always want to lift up the tab and then lift the corner. And see, already done. Isn't that awesome? So not only is this great for you, but I want to share with you another benefit of having some of these meals in the bag or something like this already in the freezer is that you can be a really great friend. And here's what I mean by that. Like I have a friend who had a death in their family this week, and I offered to bring dinner. And so I wanted to show you, even though this is full, this will fit down inside of the square, and then all of these would fit down inside of that one. But since I can't do that right now, I'm just going to stick these here. So because I have meals already made, I was able to do that because otherwise it'd be like, can't really have help with a meal. So again, always lift up the little button, remove the seal. So see how cool this is? What a great time saver. All right, so what makes these so amazing? Well, first of all, they're made of borosilicate glass. Borosilicate glass is a much stronger glass. They're chip resistant, so that's always really nice. The other great thing about borosilicate glass is that it cleans up beautifully. This does not need to sit in the sink forever. So I'm going to make a casserole real quick with the square. So the recipe actually calls for the rectangle, but that's just too big for Chris and I. So typically I divide them up in the one that you just saw that Cajun chicken pasta in. But I didn't have another size of that container. So I'm just going to make this in the square. So what we're going to make is a zucchini lasagna. So for those of you that are vegetarian, you're going to really like this one. I need to chop up some onions. This is our little supersonic chopper. Comes with a little blade cover. And this is not available for sale right now. But I will tell you that you never know when it's going to come back. And so what I would recommend that you do is let your consultant know that this is something that's on your list of things that you'd love to have. And that way she can let you know when it comes available. So I'm just going to take a half an onion. I'm going to toss it inside of here. I'm going to put the cover on. And then I'm just going to give it a couple of pulls. No more tears. You don't have to cry. Look at that. I just chopped that little guy up that well. I always put this back in the blade cover when I'm done because it's sharp and I don't want to have this sitting around in the sink. Ask me how I know that. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to make our mixture real quick. So we're going to take some ricotta cheese, and I'm only going to use a half a container since I'm halving this recipe. And I'll scrape some of this out. So this is our sandwich spreader, and it's great for spreading mayonnaise and mustard and things like that on a sandwich. They are so awesome. But It also works really well when you're trying to get into little things like this to scoop things out. All right, so we've got that. We also have some seasonings. That is for a different recipe. I don't want to mess that up, huh? All right, let me grab this real quick. So we're going to put in some mozzarella cheese, and we're going to put some Parmesan cheese. So I also pre-shred all my mozzarella and my Parmesan, and I wouldn't normally store it in a bowl. I would normally put it in a freezer container. It's so much better than buying pre-shredded. There's no ingredients added to keep it fresh and from clumping. But the other thing is, you would be amazed at how much of this that you're going to be getting. All right, so real quick, I need to have about a half a cup of mozzarella cheese, and I need about a fourth of a cup. Now, I don't ever measure cheese very well because too much cheese said no one ever, right?
Exactly.
And then I'm going to do a fourth of a cup. So I'm going to use my half a cup and only fill it up halfway. There we go. And then the next thing we've got to do is we've got to add an egg. I'm not going to add my egg into that cheese mixture because I want to make sure I don't have a bad egg. That would be disastrous to waste all of that, right? So I'm going to use our little whisk. So our whisk and our spoon and our spatula is a great little special package that we have. Alrighty. And then I also have some seasonings, and I pre-measured this. This is just parsley, salt, and pepper. Okay. I think I got everything. And I'm just going to kind of mix that all together. So let's see, we've got mozzarella cheese, ricotta cheese, Parmesan cheese, an egg, parsley, salt, and pepper. Yeah, got it all. All right, those onions, you know what I'm going to do with the rest of it. Oh, I haven't added all the onions. Oh, you know what? I chopped those onions. I didn't need it for this recipe. It's for another one we don't have time for. But that's okay. You got to see my little chopper. Okay, now it's time to do the zucchini. So I've already done some of the zucchini. It calls for 2 pieces of zucchini. I'm going to be slicing this using our mandolin. So I'm going to turn this little guy sideways. The blades fit right in the very bottom. This is the safest mandolin you will ever find because you would really have to intentionally try to chop your fingers off with this. You snap in the blade because it has a serrated blade and it has the regular. You can use what I call the spears of death to do like French fries or julienne strips of zucchini, like for zoodles, and then you can adjust the thickness of this. So I've got this set on 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our zucchini, and I've already got one of them sliced. And hopefully you guys can see. Can you see okay, Janine?
Yes, absolutely.
So here's the secret. This is our what I call our food grabber, and it's just like fits right on top. Now, normally if you've got something smaller, you can literally grab a hold of it really well. With a big zucchini, you just kind of have to balance it on there. But as I mentioned, the reason this is so safe is because I would literally have to try to get my fingers in that way because I've got this guard. I like have to stretch my hands out. So that's why I love this so much. And I always do it away from me. I know a lot of people like to do it sideways, but I feel like it's safer to do this like this. Now, this recipe doesn't use a lot of tomato sauce because there's so much liquid in your zucchini that if you were to put a lot of sauce on it, it would really, really be runny. So that's why you don't really want to do that. All right, that's enough. All right. So look at all of those beautiful slices that I have. So you're going to use about a third of those at a time. And this is the part that I thought was a little unusual is, and you're going to make sure you put the pretty ones on top because as you can see, I cut a couple of them. So I'm just going to put a layer of these on the bottom. And it's a pretty thick layer. I mean, you want to kind of divide this into like thirds, so to speak. So you're going to use quite a bit of these. And because I'm doing a smaller casserole rather than a 9x13, I'm just going to break some of these. All right. Now, Next thing we're going to do is we are going to add, we got the bottom on that. We're going to put about a half of the cheese filling right on top of it. We'll spread that around. There we go. Now, sauce. Like I said, we're not going to use a lot of sauce. So this actually calls for 1/4 of a cup of sauce, you guys. Not a lot of sauce at all. And like I mentioned, you don't want to put too much in because then it gets really runny. So you're going to ask, what am I going to do with the rest of that spaghetti sauce? If I knew I was going to use it right away, I would actually just leave it in the jar and put it in my refrigerator and use it like in the next day or so, but I'm not. So I'm going to put it in a freezer container. I've already got one labeled that I can just actually put into the freezer, and that way I can take that out and thaw when I'm ready. All right. I don't think you're going to get to see the actual finished product of my pressure cooker because once you take it out of the microwave, because it is under pressure, you have to wait. And it usually takes about 8 minutes or so to come out from under pressure. And we won't have that amount of time. So you'll just have to trust me that it's just going to be really, really yummy. All right. Chris said he'll vouch for it. He's going to take one for the team. There we go. And then we're going to take the rest of the sauce. I actually might have put a little bit too much, so I'm going to just use just a touch, but you don't want to put a lot. And then we're going to finish it with this. Now, it says to top it with parsley, fresh parsley, and I'm going to do that, but I won't do that until I'm actually baking it. So I do have fresh parsley that I actually just grow because otherwise it'll be all frozen. All right. And then guess what we're going to add to the top, right? We are going to add some cheese. What do I do with my cheese? I'll find my cheese later. We'll add the cheese to the top. So again, to put this in the freezer, we're going to make sure it's opened, place it on top. When you press down, whoosh, and then you snap. Now, here's something that's really cool about these. We have a fill line. So I'm going to turn it around till I find it right here. So here's the little fill line. It's got a little wavy line. So if you're freezing with liquid, this is not a lot of liquid. You don't want to go past the fill line. If you are just going to put it in your oven and cook it right then and there, then you can go all the way to the top. So here's the cool thing about this. This goes in the regular oven without the Tupperware storage seal. It goes in the microwave with the storage seal. So you're just going to pop the vent so the steam can escape, but the food doesn't splatter. And of course, it goes to the tabletop and it goes in the dishwasher. And if there's anything left over, put the seal back on, snap it, put it in the refrigerator, voila. And you can actually, and that's why it's called voila. So that is a casserole all ready to go. Pretty excited, right? All right, so the last thing that I was going to share with you, but I don't have time, is something else that I do. And that is make burgers in advance. So I've already got some ground beef that I've mixed up. I usually add a couple of ingredients to the ground beef. And then what you're going to do, and I'm only going to do one, is you're going to take your ground beef and you're going to put it into one of these little containers. And you'll notice they all stack up on top of one another. That's my cheese. So when I make them, I form them into little round balls. You're going to put the ring in there. You're going to take this little guy right here, going to press it here, and then you're going to press down and twist. Now, why do I like to make my own as opposed to buying them? Well, first of all, they just taste better. That's why. But the other reason that I like to do this is that way I can add some extra ingredients into them. So I add, it's a Worcestershire sauce, a little mustard. But here's the secret, you guys. Take your finger and just stick it in the very center and make a little hole, just like that. So that way, and then these are going to all stack up on top of one another. When they're cooking, they shrink and it'll fill up that little hole. But guess what? It won't have a little mountain. So when you put your ketchup on it, it doesn't kind of roll off like a little volcano. All right. So I want to double check my notes real quick because I don't want to make sure I didn't forget to tell you anything. So we talked about meal prepping with just prepping and chopping. your foods. We talked about making meals in a bag. So that's another way. And we talked about doing them in casseroles. The smart way to do that is make one to eat tonight and make one to freeze. So that's always a great idea. So whether you like to go all in like me, or you decide, you know what, I don't want to do all of that. I think I'm just going to do the ones in the bag. That's fine. You're going to find it's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of money. And it's also going to keep you from making those unplanned trips to fast food restaurants as well. So I do want to let you know that we've got a follow up to this. So on Monday, if you're a guest, ask your consultant for the link. My girlfriend Michelle is going to come back and she's going to do some meal prep and she's going to do some breakfast, lunch, and snack ideas. So there's part two that you can get as well. So I'm going to pull out this. I'm not going to be able to open it. You can see. There you go. So you can see the little indicator is lifting and it's hissing. So that tells me it's under pressure. It's going to take about 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes for that to come down. And guess what? We're ready to eat that curry. So how fast was that to put a great meal on the table? All right, I think that's a wrap. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to join us in Tupperware. We know your time is valuable and we really appreciate that you chose to spend it with us.
Yes, Tina, thank you so much. I hope you've been able to see the hearts and the thumbs up and all the emojis going across the screen. The chat has been amazing. So many incredible ideas. First of all, at the very beginning, when you were talking about chopping your celery and rolling your bacon and your onions and your ground meat, yes, that might require a half hour, 45 minutes of work on a Sunday afternoon, but think of how you're prepping for the week. And she talked about the set it and forget it and the pressure cooker and all the amazing recipes. And if you're not a household that eats a 9 by 13 dish, cut that or make that, but put it in the rectangle or the square. Make two meals, one to eat now and one to freeze and have it later. So in just over a half hour, Tina gave us so many ideas, saving money, saving those crazy last minute frantic trips that I have to get that, I have to grab that. By when things are ahead or on sale and planning ahead, you have all the tools you need in your kitchen and in your freezer and in your fridge to save you money, save you sanity, and to put good food in you. Like that is just so important. Tina, I think the biggest comments were, and I was thinking the same thing, I want to come live by you and eat what you're eating because you made some delicious, delicious meals. So, again, everybody, thank you again for joining us today and spending some time with us on your Saturday. We truly appreciate it. Your consultant appreciates you as well. So you can continue to browse the catalog and you can check out. That way we can get you those products that you will be loving and will save you time, waste, space, and energy in your kitchen. So thanks again, everybody. And like Tina said, we'll be back Monday evening with a follow-up. So invite a bunch of friends to join us Monday too. We'll see you soon. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks so much again, Tina. You were amazing. We loved it.
Bye, everybody.
It's still holding us on here, Tina. It wants us to keep talking, but I'm going to get this ended here. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful Saturday.